TNA Genesis Part 1 has concluded. The results were in, and the night started with Rockstar Spud cutting a promo introducing Dixie Carter and really picked up some heat. Dixie Carter came out doing her usual shit. The help from last week was called out. They were all thanked and said they have a good future in the company. This took about 25 minutes, this bullshit. Really took its time, but it did set up for something quite good. Sting came out and threatened ec3 and said there was people in the back which would never set out willing to fight. He said the house was crumbling, and the rest of the locker room came out, which led to a 6-man tag, which was announced by Rockstar Spud. It would be Samoa Joe, Joseph, James Storm, Gunner, ODB, and Eric Young against the bromans, Bad Influence, Lady Tapa, and DJ Zema. DJ Zema is Zema Ryane, that's his new gimmick. He's a DJ. That match was won by Samoa Joe's team. Looks like Samoa Joe will probably be the next challenger for the world title to me, or Gunner obviously, because he has the briefcase, or maybe James Storm if he wins next week. That match was pushed to next week, as was the Angle Rude match. We'll get onto that in a bit. Saban then cut a promo which led to a match being announced for next week. Saban and Aries in a cage match, and I think Velvet Sky will be in a cage ringside, and Velvet Sky will leave Saban if he loses, basically. It was then Bully Ray versus Ken Hansen in a no disqualification match. Basic hardcore match, some chair shots. The guardrail was brought in at one point. Bully Ray was mic checked onto it. Then Bully went through a table, turned the match around, got the lighter fluid tease, setting Hansen on fire. But then Hansen hit another mic check, and instead of going for the pin, he teased setting Bully Ray on fire, and the table, and then putting Bully Ray through it. But Bully Ray hit the low blow and then a pile driver and got a win. Looks like he could now be back on the way up, because this was only the second match. This was about an hour through, and this was only the second match. This is what winds me up about TNA. They work always where wrestling matters. 2 matches in a fucking hour, and they were like 10-minute matches. Bullshit. Kurt Angle was around all night, calling out for Dixie. Also, Sam Shaw attacked the TNA roadie. I don't know who that was. Angle then came to the ring and he called out Dixie, and Dixie basically said, "Oh, we only told you that there was an emergency last week to protect you," and all that bullshit. And then she postponed the match for next week, which I presume was because they were overrunning like mad after that first bullshit segment. Then it was Lady Tapa versus Gail Kim. Before the match, Lady Tapa and Gail Kim attacked Maddison Rain, but somehow in the match Maddison Rain still managed to get the win with a roll up to become a 5-time Knockouts champion. The Wolves made their debut, telling Dixie Carter that they're not having a trial match next week because they're already signed, and that there's a new investor in TNA. I don't know if this work, or I don't know. We'll see as it progresses. Maybe there is a real new investor. That would be good for TNA. That was the good thing about this episode. It didn't really feel like a pay-per-view to me, but it did feel like a new beginning, and that was a real good thing. And to have Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards debut, they're probably 2 of the bigger guys outside of the WWE, and they're the probably biggest guys that TNA can afford and get right now, so it's a good job that they've got them guys. Let's just see what they do with them. Be exciting to see them next week on Genesis. It was then time for the main event, where it was Sting versus ec3, and it was announced that Rockstar Spud would be the special guest referee. This was quite a good match. This one of Sting's better matches, and he didn't take any bumps in this match really. He was just dishing out to beat him, which he took him outside, beat him up outside a little bit, done the usual stuff. Spud tried to stop him, he jumped on his back, and Sting threw him off, and he went for a Stinger splash, and Spud got involved again, but it weren't enough. Sting was going for the win. He had Rockstar Spud hand, he was going to make the count, and then Magnus in the Fiend, and he pulled Rockstar Spud out and showed that he was the referee. And then ec3 got a roll up amongst the confusion, which led to the ring. Coming off the loss to Ethan Carter, although it's a controversial loss, still a loss, Sting set himself right up for a title match with Magnus. What basically happened was, he said he'd do anything to fight Magnus. He'd do anything in the world. And Magnus, after a lot of and back and forth, eventually accepted the match, but on one condition, that if Magnus beats Sting, he will have to leave TNA. The contract that he's apparently negotiating will be torn up, and he'll go to WWE and be at WrestleMania. Oh no, I bet Sting's shitting himself. And so I think this could be the end for Sting. I didn't think it would ever. Last year, when the rumours were speculating, I was like, no way. There's no chance that Sting could leave. But now I think he will. I think he'll finally go to WWE. And good for him. It's about time he should do this. You know, TNA's a sinking ship. But it looks like there's a new beginning for TNA. And that's exciting. And everyone involved tonight really was quite a young guy, apart from your Stings. And the others were just primed guys. And it looks like, although TNA's it's in a bad way, a lot of people are putting it down. If they can stay alive and look to the future, maybe there could be a good future for them. With all these young guys about, if they push them in the right way, the new signings, they're promising new talent, they're saying there's still going to be more talent, new characters, new everything basically. It's a new beginning, and this is a new Genesis, and it's been put into 2 parts, and next week there's some pretty good matches, I must say. Angle versus Rude, Storm versus Gunner, Aries versus Sabin in a cage match. There's Storm Gunner matches for the briefcase, and Sting versus Magnus in a contract for title match. So it's an exciting time for TNA. It's a worrying time for TNA in the same mindset, but if they can get through, I do believe they could have a good company there. More like Ring of Honor. I think they're further behind WWE obviously than they ever have been, but with young guys they could build something. And who knows, you get a good investor in, they can bring in